It's October in 2 days, so that can only mean one thing. Book haul! Hi everybody, it's Lydia here. So at the start of this month I told myself I wasn't going to buy any books, and yet I still have a stack of about 10, so I'm not quite sure how that happened, but let's just get on with it, shall we? So the first book in this haul is Longmorn by Jo Baker. This is a companion novel to Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and it's basically that whole story told from the point of view of the servants in Longmorn House. So chiefly from Mrs. Hill, who obviously is mentioned in Pride and Prejudice, and then a couple of other servants. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. It's got really good reviews. I was kind of really reticent about buying it because I wasn't sure whether it was going to just be like a cheap knockoff sort of thing, but it got really good reviews on Goodreads, so I thought I'll give it a go. So the second book is Noggin by John Corey Whaley. This is a book I actually won in a first reads on Goodreads, so don't know that much about it, but I'm pretty sure it's a love story, and I've only got a few chapters in, but it's basically this guy has a head transplant. His lower half of his body has cancer, and this surgeon comes up with this new magical surgery that means he can transplant his head onto onto the body of a guy who had brain cancer and who donated his body to it. As I say, I'm not very far into it, but it's basically like he goes to sleep one day and then wakes up and it feels like it's been minutes, whereas for everyone else it's been years. So it's interesting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. So the next book is Dreams and Shadows by C. Robert Cargill. This is a book which I'm not sure what it's about because I had it on my TBR for quite a while and I just decided to order it. I think it's about a love story, and this child is born and a demon basically comes along and swaps the child for a changeling, and this changeling isn't very nice and all that stuff. I think it's a kind of fantasy supernatural kind of thing, but it sounded really interesting, and again it got really good reviews on Goodreads, so I thought I'd check it out. Yeah, and it just looks really fancy, and this is actually a library copy, but I didn't steal it, I bought it, so whoever sold it to me stole it, but you know, what could you do? The next book is Half Bad by Sally Green. I've heard quite a lot about this on other booktube channels. I don't know anything about it because it doesn't have a blurb. I just really like the cover. That was not the main reason why I bought it, but yeah, it's pretty, and I know I bought it because it looked really good and it sounded really interesting, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was about. So yeah, but it's pretty, so. The next book is Me Before You by J.J. Moyes. I don't normally read contemporary romance. I used to when I was younger, but I haven't read some in quite a while because I'm just not a massive fan of it. But this was recommended to me on Goodreads because I had read One Day and I absolutely love that book. And I think this has a kind of similar thing. It's about two people who suddenly meet and it changes their world, and it's a bit of a change, but it's you know, have a bit of romance in between all the fantasy, which is basically all I read, so yeah. So the next book is Green Girl by Kate Zambrino. I actually got this free from Flubit because I did a review for them during August. If you don't know Flubit, check them out, they're really cool. I will link them below. Basically, this is a book that I found out about through reading Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay, and she basically has a chapter in that in which she talks about books that have great kind of female characters in and that really highlight important feminist issues. And this is, I think, there's no blurb on this, but I think this is about a character who she's just going about her normal life. She's, you know, there's nothing particularly exciting and adventurous or fantastical or anything. It's just her normal life, but she keeps realising that all the society keeps kind of presenting all these ideals towards her that just because she's a woman, and it's kind of about questioning that sort of, you know, patriarchal society basically. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this. The next book is Horns by Joe Hill. I'm actually reading this for a buddy read in October for a Goodreads group, which I will link below because it's a really cool group. I really recommend checking it out. This is basically a kind of horror dark fantasy book about a guy named Ignatius whose girlfriend was killed a year ago in the woods outside their town, and everyone expects that he did it, even though he didn't, but he basically becomes really isolated and pretty horrible, and one day he wakes up with horns on his head and he discovers that he has this power over people and he can kind of control what they do to a certain extent. There is a film coming out in about a month or so which looks really good and actually kind of made me introduce me to the book, but I did want to read the book first. It's October, so it's Halloween month, so I'm going to read a horror. Yeah. The next book is The Big Wide Calm by Rich Marcello. I won this in a Goodreads competition and it only arrived this morning, and I actually think I won it like in like June. I thought it got lost in the mail or something, but it turned up today. It's about a girl named Paige who is a rock star and she wants this big career, and she meets this guy who is a singer-songwriter and he offers to record her album for free, but you know, there's all questions about how kind of good this guy is he actually a good guy? But it's kind of a coming of age / rock and roll sort of book. It's a massive book though, I don't know why it's so big, but yeah, that will be interesting. The cover is strange, but yeah. So September was also my birthday month, so I got a few books for my birthday. One of them was More Than This by Patrick Ness. This is the book that has been constantly being recommended to me from Ned Viteria because I've read John Green's books and everything. And in fact I think I actually mentioned it in my top 5 Wednesday a few weeks ago for the author blurbs one. It's basically about this guy who drowns and then he wakes up. It sounded really interesting. It's got really good reviews and I keep hearing about it, and I really love this cover as well. So yeah. The second book I got for my birthday was Alias Hook by Lisa Jensen. This was a book which I think Lainey mentioned in a video a couple of weeks ago. It's basically about Captain Hook, but from a different point of view. It's his story, I think. And this woman finds her way to Neverland despite being grown up. I watched Once Upon a Time and there's a similar storyline in that to this, so yeah, I thought I'd check this out and I really love this cover. The final book in this book haul that I got for my birthday was a book that I actually mentioned on my must reads a couple of weeks ago, and that is The Taxidermist's Daughter by Kate Moss. I really am looking forward to reading this. I think it sounds really interesting. It's about, unsurprisingly, a taxidermist's daughter, and I think someone goes missing or something. It's like 1912 and someone goes missing, but it's this really kind of, it reminded me a lot of sort of Woman in Black-ish sort of kind of genre, a bit horror-ish. Ooh, sticky. But yeah, it just looks really cool and I'm really looking forward to reading this. This is kind of one that I will definitely be reading in the next couple of weeks. So that's it for this month's book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't have a clue which book I'm going to read first, but hopefully I will get around to reviewing some. I know I haven't reviewed half the books that I mentioned in my August book haul yet, but they are on my TBR list and I will read them at some point, but I keep finding books that I really want to read, and I'm really bad at, like, when a new book comes out I'm like, I have to read that now. So yeah, but yeah, lots of books. I will see you next month for another book haul, and I will be back tomorrow with a Tag Tuesday, so bye!